So we talked about the Indus Civilization. There's this 3,000-year period of thriving complex societies and peoples and cities. You can kind of see the Indus world here over in this area. This would be Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. Here's Lothal over there. But what this map I think does a good job of is why there obviously was a civilization thriving within these rivers, but what made Indus as well as these other early civilizations function and prosper, again, was the trade, the movement of products between regions. And here you kind of see, I think this map does a good job of explaining all the different products that were around the Indus that then could get shifted and traded with the rest of the world. Here, the big one that we've talked about, here's the lapis up here. So all the trade routes, I mean, you could go up and over these mountains. Here, you could also there were also people who traded over land, but here you have this huge Iranian plateau, so going up over the mountains here, and then you could go to these rivers and along the coast as well. So lapis was important. Here we have copper. There's a lot of copper is found. Indus copper is found all through, obviously, the Indus period, Indus region, but a lot of Indus copper and the ingots there are found and imported into Mesopotamia, Egypt as well. And again, copper and tin, which another we can kind of see here. These are important. That makes bronze. So that was a major trading item there. And then another thing here is you can kind of see all these little dots here. These are all these agates and steplites and chert. These are all those beads. So again, these rock beads, and these beads have been found. The Indus beads are found all throughout the ancient world, which again is a nice indicator of how these trade networks integrated these regions. Right? And people had Indus beads. They've lasted and persisted to today, and they only came from one spot. And again, archaeologists are very good about it. I mean, they can even go and look at how it's drilled. The minerals are drilled out to see, even production sites within these different regions. So this is the Indus trade. It's trading lapis, lead, silver, glass, stone beads, pottery. Pottery was a very much big part of the Indus world. And in exchange, right, things they were getting from Mesopotamia, a lot of bronze, they'd ship the copper and tin over, and then they get the bronze back. Wood as well was important, grain, food, a lot of finished goods. Mesopotamia created a lot of things as well, so they could trade back and forth with finished goods from Mesopotamia. And then Egypt also had a lot of trading items, textiles, ivory, gold, all of those things, ivory and gold, those are things coming up from sub-Saharan Africa through Nubia. So you can see just how interconnected these worlds were. And we found these products from different regions, and archaeologists have found them throughout the ancient world. So they're very much interconnected there. And then the other big thing that they found all over the Indus world are these things called these Indus seals. And this is how we know they had a form of writing. So each seal has this writing on it. Again, we don't know what this is. This could be a name. This could be a record of what's being traded. A lot of people think maybe these were ways to record trade. And again, as we've seen in cuneiform and early Phoenician alphabets, recording trade, determining where things are from, how much things are worth, is very important. So the Indus had some sort of writing system, and these have all been cataloged. There's about 400 different signs identified. They're found in all these seals. And these seals are really small, right? So you kind of see this is what they look like blown up, but this is what they look like there. So we find all of these, and you can see this same sort of picture. Here's a cow with a little ship. So the ship indicates, again, probably trade there. But this writing is different, so it's saying something different. Again, we haven't gotten the Rosetta Stone of the Indus yet. It's probably going to be, at some point in time, it will be discovered. It's just the way usually history goes. But as of yet, we haven't. And we also don't have like huge big texts of these. The way this worked is these were all sort of these soft stones, and you'd you'd carve in there, and then you'd heat them, and then they'd harden up. So it was easy to kind of make these figures, and you can see they're pretty well designed. Nice horse. Like a lot of people have studied, the different designs of these animals. Those mean anything. Ships are important as well. So Yeah, but so we have a lot of these. They know they were something, um, but what they mean is still a mystery of the ancient world. And just some of these kind of give you a sense of just how elaborate these things are. We have seals with all sorts of animals on there. Here we have another buffalo. So again, this also tells us about what kind of animals were in the Indus world. Here's a cow. This one has 3 heads, so maybe like movement, like a cow brain. Here you can see the writing here. Again, maybe this was a family emblem, like this, like maybe a logo, if you will. Here's a bigger bull, much different than these ones. Another form of writing over here. Here's one maybe eating, drinking. Here's an elephant. So elephants, Asian elephants were around. They were part of this Indus world. Here's a rhinoceros as well. Here's another one. Maybe this is a ship. Maybe this is a ship as well. So rhinoceroses were there. And here's a tiger. So tigers were very much around and part of the Indus world as well. So just going to give you a sense of what these seals are. And again, they're all very small, and we have so many of these, thousands of these symbols. We just haven't been able to put them all together yet. Haven't cracked that code. And then some other really interesting ones. I mean, we do have, this is when I said a lot of inference, right? Here is a figure sitting, so in sort of a yoga posture, if you will. So maybe this is early yoga religion. And again, what this symbolizes in the context of what they were used for, or what these are communicating, it's hard to say, but this might be an indication of religion. Here's a nice, interesting one. This is like a 3-headed figure surrounded by animals, and there is later on this figure of Shiva, who people might know. He's sort of related to this other earlier god named Rudra, who is the god of animals, and it typically is seen with 3 faces. So maybe this is an early Shiva figure. Again, it's hard to really say, but again, same sort of yogic sitting pose, something written up here. I mean, if this is the name of this god, perhaps that would help us. But we can see the amount of different animals there. And then this is a really interesting one. Here, this looks like somebody wearing maybe a crown, holding up the 2 lions or tigers on either hand. And if you remember back when we looked at people like Ashurbanipal and figures of Mesopotamia, we saw those same ones where Ashurbanipal is shown holding up 2 lions in his hands. So maybe this is a really interesting one. Could perhaps people from the Indus had been to traders or political connections there, had seen these elements in Nineveh or Babylon, and said, okay, well let's repeat that here. That's a sign of kingship, symbol of that. But again, this is where we get the historical inference. We don't know for sure, but we can use other cultures, examples, civilizations, and try to kind of read into what these are. And until these are definitively translated, we won't really know. About every 5 years, somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I've cracked the Indus code." But so far, no one's officially cracked it. But with AI is being trained in language models, so maybe AI can help. This would be a good function for that, something computers can do other than humans. But that's sort of the Indus world, cities, this large complex civilization, a lot of trade, system of writing, a lot of questions, not as many answers in this civilization as others.